Thank you so much for agreeing to do this interview with me, Firmin. I'm really excited.
Really excited too, Harry.
So I want to kick off. We see Payfit today, this incredible scaling company that we all look to, Paris and Europe. What was the aha moment? What was that kind of initial idea stage? And when did you realize that this was really a must?
When we arrived the first time at the family 4 years ago. No, I'm joking. That was 10 years ago when I met my co-founder, Guilain. We started the first business. I was 17 at the time. And yeah, I realized that the person I wanted to found a company with was this guy, this CTO, this engineer, this Guilain. And a few years after, we had this idea of Payfit, of payroll in France, of Jetlong, and that's how everything got started in January 15.
This is incredibly unfair of me to go off schedule so early, but I'm interested, considering we just heard about kind of the team element and kind of just how central it is. When you look at you and your co-founders today, what makes you in your roles, in your personalities, your temperament, what makes you the kind of successful founding pair that you are?
So we are completely different with Guilain, and Flo, the third one, is really different too. We are very complementary, the three of us, but we share the same values, the same passion, and the same willingness to build something that has never been built before. And I think this mix, between values and things you share and things that you don't share is really what makes us different and what makes us kind of happy to work together in our daily life at Payfit. And this is something that Payfitters tell us every day. So yeah, when you're looking for a co-founder, just don't look for someone just like you. Just look for someone that can, bring you a lot, but share the same values. That's very important in the long run.
Another element that, kind of picking up on what Fred said, and again, so unfair of me to go off schedule, he mentioned obviously the importance of really having aligned investors. I spoke to a couple of your investors before. One was Jean at Kima, and he said, I really want to hear Firmin's answer to this, and it's, what would Firmin say to the Firmin of 2015, having been through this incredible 4-year scaling journey? What would that advice be to yourself?
Maybe be a bit less optimistic, because I know I'm too optimistic. And when you meet some people, it's not going to work in your company. That could be, investors. We never experimented that, but that could be. But we experimented that with Payfitters, with employees. When you find someone where you know that there could be a risk, but you take the chance, you are risking this. And then, yeah, it's always a bad idea. You think that it's gonna be better months after months, but it's not. If this guy, if this girl doesn't share the values of your company, it's never gonna work. So I think the Firmin from 2019 will tell that to the old one, and you can tell Jean that.
I will tell Jean that. I think one area that I'd love to also pick up on is kind of the scaling of the sales team, something that you've, again, done very, very well. Talk to me about that scaling. What have been some of the biggest challenges of scaling the sales team to where it's at today?
First you need to do it yourself. It's your number one job as the CEO of a startup, and you need to take all the companies at the family, at e-founders, and keep them as customers. Then you are starting to hire some people that are going to be, true entrepreneurs, because your first salespeople need to be entrepreneurs. They need to not think about hitting quota or targets. They just need to think about closing customers. That's all, like you do as an entrepreneur.
Yeah, no, absolutely. In terms of that kind of got to do it yourself and having those early days with that entrepreneurial culture, when do you need to move from that kind of entrepreneurial get shit done to actually much more specialist SDRs and really kind of a much more specialized sales machine? When does that change happen?
Yeah, at the beginning, every sales is doing everything, and then at some point you need to split between SDRs, pre-sales, and sales. Then among SDRs, pre-sales, you need to split between inbound and outbound. That's just the normal life of a startup and of a sales teams that is growing. It's like at the beginning you are 2, 3 guys. You are doing it all. You are doing everything, and then you need some people, doing finance, because when you are 200, you need those people. It's impossible to do it on your own. So that's the same thing in every team, and I guess that each time you are growing, you need to get more specialization and to hire people that will do a better job than a generalist.
No, absolutely. Speaking of, you mentioned the word payfitters earlier, and again, spoke to several of your investors, and they mentioned the culture that you've built with Payfit. When you think about the culture, what's the core to leveraging the culture that you have to be even more successful, do you think?
It's hard to say.
That's the easiest questions.
I'm living it on a daily basis, basically, but it's like just being obsessed with making payfitters happy. That's the number one thing we have in mind with Flo and Guilain. We just want them to be very, very happy. That's even important than grow the business or make customers happy. We really want to make payfitters happy, and yeah, then sharing the same values, and thinking that at 50, you can be better with culture at 200, and I guess that's what happened. So what I'm telling myself is that, okay, we're at 200, but the culture is going to be even better in 4 years when we'll be 1,000, even with more countries, more specialization, more payfitters. I think it's possible, yeah.
Can I ask, a big question for me is always, with such kind of big ambitions and scaling teams, how do you think about the balance between having that really ambitious sales force that are, you said about kind of not being mindset driven on hitting quota, but really hitting numbers and really shooting for the stars, but also not being maybe disappointed when they don't, so kind of hungry enough to go, but also not dejected enough if they don't. How does one navigate that balance?
Yeah, it's not. It's really cool to work at Payfit. We want to be happy. We want to make Payfitters happy, but it's not holidays. There are 3 goals in the company. It's grow business, make Payfitters happy, and make customers happy. So you need to find in everything you are doing the right balance between finding people that are on a professional level excellent and also on the value level excellent. And that's what I tell every candidate. We are thinking. We are looking for both, not just professionalism or culture, but both. And if you find those type of people, they will build, your company, your specialization with this idea in mind and focusing on both and not just on one of the two.
If we kind of focus in on that culture fit element, I always think it's kind of incredible that we expect to know so much about whether someone's a culture fit from such a short hiring process. How do you really determine whether someone is a culture fit from that interview process, and what does that look like?
So you are meeting between 4 and 8 people. You ask questions about value and not just chatting around with the people. So in the end, you know about that, and we have something that is quite special, I guess, in the end of the process. That's called barbecue test, BBQs. There is no sausages or whatever, but it's just a formal, an informal place where you can meet payfitters and candidates. Takes place every Wednesday. So yeah, that's tonight in the office. Just before the soccer game, and then you can meet candidates, payfitters, and ask questions. And that's something we're also doing in Barcelona, in Berlin, and that's something that is really nice to understand the culture. For example, humility is a great value at Payfit, and you can find strong negative signals in those moments with this value.
Can I ask, what's your favorite interview question to ask? Is there one which you find most revealing of someone's culture, approach, personality?
No, I like every of your questions, Harry.
Okay, in terms of the culture itself, sometimes it does break down. Now the team is, how big is the team now, 90?
No, we are 210.
LinkedIn lied to me. But with that, 210, there's always breakpoints in culture. Where have you noticed kind of inflection points where maybe the culture changes a little bit and cracks maybe start to appear?
I think you can build, very stable culture. Each time we saw an inflection point was because of an individual that wasn't, respecting and sharing the values. And from one guy, you can see, dozens of people that are not acting well. So that's the most dangerous thing. But then, if you know that hiring is not a mathematical science, that you will make mistakes. Even if you are good at hiring, it's going to be like maybe 85, 90% of success, but not more. I mean, not 95 or not 99. That's like impossible. So you just need to, take action if you missed it.
Now, I'd be a very rich man if I got £1 for every time someone said on one of my podcasts, hire fast, fire fast. So tell me, do you agree with that sentiment? And would you say that's the right way to approach scaling teams? Or would you have maybe your own interpretation?
Yeah. No, but my interpretation is that, of course, you need to hire well, but you need to take some risk at some point, not necessarily on the values, but on the culture. You need to find some diversity. You need to open to people and to hire people that don't have the experience, but that have a great learning curve that will make the difference. And then if you fail hiring those people, firing fast. But I mean, being very transparent and honest with those people when you hire them. Tell them that it's a risk the company is willing to make, and for them it's also a risk. So everybody is just sharing the risk. It's not just the company that is without being transparent, sharing some taking some kind of a risk.
Yeah. You mentioned also Barcelona and Berlin there, and kind of the international expansion that you've seen over the last few months. I'd love to talk about that, and let's start on, before we kind of talk about the strategy, but why did you feel now was the right time to go international and really kind of go big?
Yeah, first thing was because we built Jetlong, our own payroll programmatic language, and we felt it was a shame not to use this super powerful language in other countries to build the best, Spanish, German, British payroll solution. So that was the first point. The second point is because we really want to build something big, not just a great payroll or HRIS French solution. We want to make people's lives easier, and we want to do the same in Spain, in the UK, in Germany, and in other countries than what we are doing in France. So that's the, I guess, the ambition we have, and we are pretty excited about that. That's not just a French company. It's also happening in Berlin, in Barcelona, and it's really fueling our journey.
Can I ask, what advice would you give to founders? Because sometimes investors say, international expansion is a big thing. Take it gradually, one, and add countries in kind of layers. How do you kind of advise founders on that, and how important do you think it is to be really fast when going international?
So we are not, take it easy or Deliveroo or Uber. We have very big markets, so we have more time. We don't have time, but we have more time than those players. But it's just a matter of, having this mentality. If you wait too long, then France represents a too large portion of your revenue, and then you see only France. And then you are 500, and you ask yourself, why would I go to Italy? Because it will take 10 years to be big in Italy. So that's why I think you need to have the original mindset to go there. And there is a big difference switching your language, being international and not just French when you are 20, 30 guys in an office. That's a big change. And I think that the earlier you make this change, and the better.
Can I ask, how does one scale communication when opening up kind of multiple different offices? How do you think about that and really just getting this kind of seamless flow despite location?
Yeah, between Payfitters. So, yeah, some stuff like, for example, team meetings every 2 weeks with the whole company. There is not, one meeting in France, one in Spain. There is one team meeting. While we are being very transparent with all the company, and we are telling stuff that are happening in Germany or in France to everybody. We try to have onboarding months where everyone is traveling. We are paying for remote work in all of our offices. We have ops, like Jetlong ops, sales ops, customer ops, that are within teams that are in charge of international processes and international communication. So that's a lot of things, that make us think today that we succeeded in building an international company. And when we go to Berlin or Barcelona, we see that they are just Payfitters and not Berliners.
It's interesting, you said about the remote work element there. I have a lot of founders say, I found this incredible candidate, but they are insisting that it's remote, or X is insisting it's remote. How do you think about kind of willingness to kind of engage with that when it is, and how you kind of approach remote work, so to speak?
Yeah, we are open to that. We know that it's great to meet Payfitters, to be in the office, but we're also pretty flexible with that. So as long as you are respecting the values, you are living the adventure, and you are doing a great job, then you can work from Berlin, from Paris, in the office, at home. We don't really mind.
Final one before my favorite being the quickfire round. I spoke to Philippe at Excel before, and he said on the international expansion element, now you've done it, you've learned lessons. What works and what doesn't?
I would say that if you take the same methods that worked in France and you just try to copy paste, then it will be a big failure. You really need to take the product as it is, and then see how Spanish people, German people react to it, and don't follow too much your intuition.
And then I do want to move into my favorite being the quickfire. So I say a short statement, and then you give me your immediate thoughts in about 60 seconds, okay? So your favorite book and why? What must I read on the Eurostar back?
On professional level, I would say From Impossible to Inevitable. That's a very sales and SaaS book. But I love Black and Mortimer as comics.
No, good suggestion. What would you most like to change about the French tech ecosystem today?
The ambition when you are building a business, like thinking not in France, not in Europe, but seeing world as your playground, and trying to do something that has never been done before. Otherwise, we won't have big successes.
How to structure sales team compensation plans effectively?
You need to align the salespeople and the company. You need to be ambitious, but also realistic.
What's the most challenging element of your role as CEO of Payfit?
That's, my job is changing like every 2 months. So that's the most challenging part.
Okay. What advice do you commonly hear given that you maybe disagree with most?
Look after the competition in the early days, because it can slow down your creativity.
And then final one, what's the next 5 years for you and for Payfit? What does that kind of grand picture vision look like?
Next 5 years, it's more customers, more features, more Payfitters, more happiness, and more countries. So a lot of more, and like millions of people that can be, employers and employees that can be happier thanks to what we are doing at Payfit.
Listen, it's been such a pleasure. I'm so glad your English is better than my French, otherwise this would have been the 1 minute VC.
I'd say that.
But thank you so much.
Thanks, Harry.
Does anyone have any questions for Firmin?
Hi, I'm Marius from Bucharest. You mentioned so many times the word happiness, to keep your employees happy. Can you give us some specific examples of what you do to make them happy?
Yeah, there are lots of stuff, and it's not just like ping pong tables and chocolate fountains. you know, for example, random lunch, Payfit weekend, BBQs, soccer with 25 Payfitters, girls and boys every Tuesday, team meetings, a lot of transparency in the company regarding metrics, fundraising, everything that is happening, a lot of care. So it's you know, it's not just a symbol or one thing. It's an addition of a lot of stuff that are, you know, real or just philosophical, and that makes the happiness, I guess.
I'd also add one thing, and it was one that I was actually struggling with once on the 20-minute VC team, and it was just a tougher week, and downloads weren't as high as I thought they would be, and yeah, it was just a tougher one for morale. And it was a piece of advice that Scott Belsky from Adobe gave me, and he said, you've got to manufacture wins. And what he meant by that was just like over-exaggerate the little things and really show the appreciation for them. It could be moving a potential lead from, you know, qualified to, you know, sent contract, and just overhype the little wins, because in those times, you know, you just have to manufacture the wins sometimes.
Hello. I would like to notice something you've said about the experience in the candidates. When you say you need to assess, you give importance to the learning curve and not about the experiences. How do you assess the learning curve of an applicant?
Yeah, that's a good question, because we are hiring people that have spent like 10 days at Google or companies like that. But you need to find people that are coachable, that are willing to learn, that are ambitious, and that see themselves, you know, in 2-3 years in another position than the one they are applying for. And if they are coachable enough, and if they learn fast and they are willing to learn with, you know, the great people around them, then you can assume, you know, it will be someone that is gonna do like that. And what is really nice about a fast-growing startup is that you can give those people the opportunity to grow, you know, with the company. For example, you know, you hire your first salespeople, and then, you know, 2.5 years after that, he's managing like 65 people. So this is the kind of story, you know, you can write when the company is growing so fast with people that have this kind of learning curve. That's really exciting. I'm really excited about this kind of people, you know.
And is there a key question you asked them to know about that?
No, it's not magical. It's just a combination of, you know, guessing what this person wants to do in a few years. Will this person be coachable? And will this person be learning really fast a lot of things? Is she curious? This is the kind of question you need to ask yourself when interviewing those people. But no magic in there, unfortunately.
So you said you were changing job every 2 months. Well, how would you describe your job you're doing now and like the job you had 2 months ago?
Now compared to 2 months ago, there's no big difference actually. No, but you know what? Being the CEO at a company with 10, 50, 200 people, it's not really the same. Your role changes. There are people to do things that you were doing before that, but you have new missions like communication, being transparent, fundraising, launching new countries. So, you know, each time you are growing, you need to give other people responsibilities and just let them work and not be, you know, in their space, being the accelerator for them, but not, you know, struggling to keep those things. So that's why I was telling that my job is changing. Is that, you know, for example, a year ago we didn't have anyone in finance, so I was doing 100% of finance, and yeah, I guess that was pretty bad. But now we have a real finance team, so I'm not doing it anymore.
Hi, I'm Anita. You mentioned your sales teams quite a few times, but I'm a product manager, so I'm interested in your tech team. And you mentioned that they are quite innovative. They developed their own language and stuff. How do you coordinate your sales team and the features that they have in mind or that they want to sell to the clients in a few months, and what the tech team is building? Like, how do you build roadmaps? Do you have product managers as well?
Yeah, of course we have product managers, product designers, a lot of Jetlong masters, also 35 tech people. We have 18 Jetlong masters. They are not coders, they are engineers that don't know how to code before Payfit, that learn Jetlong and that learn payroll in their own country, Germany, Spain, or France. No, but it's all about company culture. Product managers, designers, engineers, sales, they need to talk together. They need to be in the same kitchen, have very informal discussions. They need to feel the customers, and you need to set processes as you are growing, because it's more and more difficult, to sense what customer needs and what you'd better do. And it's not always, just what the customer needs. Yes?
Is that language you're developing internally, is that part of a master plan? Or why would you need to develop a language specifically to solve your problem?
In the beginning, because I didn't know how to code, so we needed one language, to do the first payroll version of the software in France. Now, payroll is so complex with thousands of variables that for the backend we needed this language, to simplify everything and to take the complexity, out of the user, and through our software and the language, make it very simpler. So we are using this language to code the backend and also the front end. So variables, but also components, and that's how we are designing, beautiful interface. With thousands of very complex variables, with a few people and very fast. So that's the key to our product development.
And is third-party integration, is that why you need to master a language? Is that something you're looking into then?
No, we are using our own stuff, and even we added some stuff on top of payroll recently, like holidays, onboarding modules, expensive, because we want to give companies with 5, 10, 50 employees the power to have the tools of a bigger companies. So we are currently doing it all at the moment.
Fantastic. One more here? Or?
Hello. I was wondering what kind of profiles do you hire for your software engineers? Do you look for something special as they need to learn your language?
For the Jetlong masters.
Sorry?
You mean for Jetlong masters?
Yeah.
We are looking for they come from very different background. We are just looking for people that can learn very fast, that have very logical minds, that, for instance, share the culture, and that are crazy enough to become payroll experts. So yeah, we are hiring.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much for coming tonight, everyone.
Thanks a lot.
Girl, I found it.